Okay.
All right, so good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for joining another Meaningful Monday. It's a bit chilly here tonight, so you can see I'm all rugged up. I hope you are too. So just for those of you who might not have joined before, welcome. We have a new person with us tonight, which is Marie, so welcome to her. And then to everyone else, just welcome and enjoy the evening. So Meaningful Monday is really just lessons that flow. Some of them have had a kind of chronological sequence, others haven't. It doesn't really matter. They are all on YouTube, so if you've missed any, you can go back and listen to them. The purpose of doing Meaningful Monday is really just to raise people's awareness that we do, in fact, create our own reality. And how we create our reality is what I try and share insights and tips for all of us to benefit from living happier, healthier, and more successful lives, just from navigating life, which is really like the biggest school you could ever go to. And I see Celia is with us. Cecilia, hello. Maybe you can't hear me. I think she might be in South America, actually. All right, so tonight's lesson, as you can see, is growing up and getting old. This might seem a bit strange because I haven't had any lesson like this in the past. Everything's been more about, manifesting, how we allow things to come into our life, loving ourselves more, expressing our creativity. But I think growing up and getting old is such an important topic to discuss because we tend to avoid it. And all of us have, to some degree, I think, I could be wrong, maybe it's not all of us, but I'm sure most of us, to some degree, have got some resistance about getting old because there's so much that we have to let go of that we really loved about being young. And I'm going to talk tonight not just about like the picture there of that lady, I don't know how old she is, let's say she's in her midlife, and then she's got her mom there, who's older than her. I'm also going to talk about as young as teenagers because there's something really important for any teenagers in our life. They don't have to be our own. They could be friends, they could be nieces, they could be nephews, just people that we come into contact with, how we as adults can help them too to navigate growing up, because it's really stressful and life is quite challenging today more than ever before, and it doesn't make it easier that technology is advanced the way it has. It actually makes people a little bit more disconnected to a degree. And, I have 500 friends on Facebook, but I'm lonely, that kind of thing. So self-esteem is really important for them. So I'll be talking about that tonight. I have to just say that growing up and getting old, I've done a lesson last month on expressing your creativity, which is all about work and how work is an expression of our love and our passion. And if it's not, what we should do about it and how to get into a place where we do love it. And even that one was about loving ourselves. Because if we love ourselves, we will get into the right occupation that expresses our passion. I have done a lesson on loving yourself. Well, tonight, again, growing up and getting old, the underlying fundamental structure that helps us navigate growing up and getting old is also loving ourselves. It keeps coming back to this. There's nothing really we can learn or live or understand or deal with that doesn't come back to loving ourselves. So as we go through this, you'll see that learning to love ourselves helps us navigate any area of our life in a more graceful way. All right, so let's begin. I want to start off talking about communicating with our parents. It doesn't matter what age you are, if your parents are still around, there's a lot that we can learn and help us to be happier, really, with our relationship with our parents. So this may not be for everyone. Everyone has got a very different relationship with their parents. You can speak to one person and they really can't tolerate their parents. They can stay as far away from them as possible. You speak to someone else who absolutely adores and loves their parents and couldn't get enough of them, thinks that they're their biggest heroes ever in life. Whichever it may be, I think it's important that we do communicate with our parents in a deeper and more. Hi, Rihanna, and welcome.
Hi.
I see that you've joined. Hi. There's another Rihanna. I've got two Rihannas. Maybe that's both you. I don't know. And Marie Jean-Claude. Hi, Marie. Welcome. Got a good turnout tonight. So communicating with our parents, really this is so important as we get older and as our parents get older, I think it's so important that we should get closer and have a more of a tolerance, forgiveness, and loving relationship with our parents than ever before as we mature. It shouldn't get worse, it should really get better. And the better the relationship we have with our parents, the more love we are letting flow through us, and it actually makes our own lives much happier. So I'll just tell you this quick story. I was reading about Louise Hay, and she was talking about this man who really had a massive difficulty relating to his father. He had such a bad relationship with his father, and he said no matter what they talk about, within the first 5 minutes, his father's either belittling him or he's ridiculing him or he's saying something negative to him, and he just can't stand it. So she said to him, what kind of relationship did your father have with his father? In other words, your grandfather. And this man said, actually, I don't know, because my dad's dad died before I was born. So he said, well, maybe you should ask your father that. So he found it challenging to bring up the subject because they never ever had really good communication. They're always fighting. And as I say, he was always feeling very belittled by his dad. But he gave it some thought, and one day he came to the subject and he asked him, Dad, what was your relationship like with your father? And he was really surprised at how bad his grandfather treated his father. So when Louise met up with him again, she saw a change in him, and she said, so how did it go? And he said, wow, I had no idea what kind of childhood my father had. He said, did you know that his father insisted that he called him sir? And if he did anything out of line or spoke up or spoke back to him, he would be severely punished and even beaten. So it was no wonder that his father was such a critical man. And often all the kind of abuse that he was getting from his dad was the same that his grandfather had put onto his father, like it piled onto him as well. So I think when that happened, the relationship between the two of them changed significantly. And the reason for that was he felt more compassion. He could understand why his father was like he was and why he was so critical, because he had it even worse in the way he got it from his dad. So tip number 1, do you really know what the relationship was like with your parents and their parents? How were they treated when they grew up? So talk to them about all subjects, ask them, what was it like growing up with your parents? What was love like in your family? What was love like in your home? How much affection did you get? How often were you told, was your family very open about saying, I love you? Or because maybe you don't hear that much and you crave that. Maybe your parents never ever had that. And that's why they find it difficult for them to say. Or ask them, how were they treated if they were punished? Or what kind of peer pressure did they go through when they were younger? So anything, talk about criticism, abuse, anger, ignoring, not sharing feelings, anything. With that, you can get to understand them far better. And then you'll have a better understanding about how they treat you, because many people are quite frustrated by their parents or find that they can't talk about everything. They're just totally misunderstood. So that's the first one. And the next thing I'd like to say is, the truth is, we're really not here to fix anybody. We're here to forgive and accept each other. And this is so important, because when we bump heads, like even with our parents or with anyone in our family or anyone in our lives, maybe it's our partners, husbands, wives, whatever, when there are things that really frustrate us and we find that we're hitting a wall with this person all the time and a relationship is very strained, the reason that we need to really get into our heads that we're not here to fix anybody is because when that is the only option, it means that the only person left to fix is ourselves. And that's the person we should start working on anyway, first and always, is just ourselves. We are here. So if we can learn to, clean up issues, going back to our parents, clean up old issues with your parents, whatever it is, forgive them. And forgive yourself too in the relationship, because there's a part of you that was also judgmental and that you're probably angry with yourself to some degree for holding on to that for so long. If that's the case for you, I don't know. And I must tell you this, a friend of mine in South Africa lost her father recently, and it was a massive deal. She'd never lost anyone that close to her in her life, no one that close. And, you know, she just said to me, just make sure that you know, fix the relationships. If there's anything that needs to be fixed with your mom or your dad, she said to me, she says, because when they're gone, no matter how bad they were, you're going to miss them. And that's very, very true. So sometimes we need to think about that, and we can't actually see what that looks like until it actually happens, and then it's too late. So the last thing you want is to have a parent pass on and have something that's undealt with or not fixed or not said or not forgiven or not healed, because we will miss them when they're gone, no matter how bad that relationship was. And that's just what I want to reinforce. Don't wait. And you never know what tomorrow is going to bring or the very next minute in your life. So don't wait. The other thing is about not fixing anybody. When we're on a spiritual pathway, it's really not up to us to change the other person. That's not what it's all about. The only person that we need to change is ourselves. Okay, so let's go talking about teenagers. So the truth is with teenagers that they really do need a lot of self-esteem. I think it's the most challenging developmental stage of us as we grow up, and maybe as adults we may have forgotten it. But it's so, so important for young people, especially between age 10 and 15 particularly, to be accepted. That's all they want to do, is be accepted. And it really is very alarming that the rate of teenage suicides is continuously on the increase. That's just really very sad, and it's very, very worrying. And every single one of us, whether you've got kids or not, can play a role in helping teens with self-esteem. You always get a chance to speak to a teenager somewhere, somehow. Now, the problem also is that their need for acceptance is often so strong that they hide their true feelings. They hide their feelings because they fear that they won't be accepted for who they are. They won't be loved for who they are. So they suppress their true feelings. And that's the worst thing that anybody can do, because that's self-betrayal. And the highest form of betrayal is the one we have with ourselves. There's never someone else betraying us. That is terrible. But a higher and worse form of betrayal is betraying ourselves. And if they learn that young and start to deal with acceptance and start to deal with things that way, it only makes it more difficult to accept themselves as adults later on. So what can we do? Well, one thing we can do is we can help any teenager by having conversations with them, real, deep, meaningful conversations, and asking them, tell me about negative peer pressure in your world, and tell me about positive peer pressure in your world. Ask them to talk about it. They need to learn how to deal with it. And if we take an interest in a question like that, it might make them open up and feel like we really do care, because sometimes they don't express anything just to be accepted. And let them know that peer pressure doesn't need to control them. Also, if you see a teenager, if it's your own child especially, and they're shy, or they're mischievous, or they lie, or you find them often sad, or maybe slow at school, or being destructive in any way, or showing bouts of anger and frustration, if you see anything like that, it's really very important for us to understand why. Now, I know I'm using the word why in this instance, but when you have a conversation with them, try not to use the word why, even though I've just used it. It kind of puts people on the back foot. Try to ask a what question. So maybe, what do you think is causing you to be so angry today? Or what do you think causes you to be so shy? Or what factors are involved in whatever? Ask questions about what. See if you can get them to talk about it. Once they start talking about it, they're moving towards healing whatever it is, or understanding it better to fix it. The other thing is that kids are often very strongly influenced by the thinking and feeling patterns in the home. You've got to understand that children grow up and they have a paradigm, a conditioning, a kind of formatting. And this paradigm really happens strongly between 0 and 7. So everything that they've heard from their parents or relatives, grandparents, or the media or school, conditions them, and these become their beliefs. And how they think and how they feel is a result of their beliefs, of their paradigm. So inside the home, it's really so important for parents and siblings and other family relatives to be very aware of what kind of atmosphere is in the home. Is it a loving and trusting one, which fosters people talking about things that are bothering them? Because if it's not loving and trusting, the truth is those teenagers are going to go find that love and that trust somewhere else. And if they don't get it in the home and they have to find it somewhere else, they can find it anywhere, even if it's totally dysfunctional. And that's the danger. Young teenagers get involved in gangs, even though the gang's environment might be more dysfunctional than their home. The truth is they feel more that they belong there, that they loved and accepted and can trust those people in the gang more than the people in their own home. So I'm just mentioning that because that's how things go off in the wrong direction. It's just they so badly need to feel this feeling of belonging. I got this quote off the internet and I've seen it on Instagram, and I think it's so important. Look, it says daughters. It could be daughters and sons. It doesn't matter if it's boys or girls. It says, do your daughters a favor. That's the American spelling, sorry there. Do your daughters a favor and raise them to be okay with people not liking them. Talk about this subject with your children. Talk about the subject of being liked and help them understand that the most important person that needs to like them is themselves. It's not approval from others, because that can change in a heartbeat, and it's going to be like that for the rest of their life. In life, you're always going to get people who are going to like you and people who are not going to like you. It's just the way life is. So the earlier we can teach them to be okay. People don't have to like you. Do you know why? Because we're all different. And they're going to be people that you don't like because they're different and you don't like certain things about them. It's okay. Let them become really comfortable with people not liking them, because the minute they feel that people have to like them, I don't have to go down this road in this conversation. We know what kind of inappropriate behavior they may get up to just to feel that they are liked or appreciated. So this subject is one of the most important to be had. The thing that may help young people, specifically when it comes to not being liked or bad behavior or being influenced or taking drugs or sleeping around or whatever it may be, being dishonest, just get them to ask this question before they act. Teach them this before they take any action, especially when they're in a predicament where they haven't been in that predicament before. Will this make me feel better about myself? And let them just tell them, use your intuition. Teach young people to trust their intuition. It's got to be the greatest gift on earth to learn and trust your intuition. You've got an inner guidance system that comes from your creator. It comes from a divine source, and it's there to guide you in your life and to lead you correctly in your life. So let them just know. Ask yourself the question, will this make me feel better about myself? And then trust your intuition. And if the answer is no, help them find that courage to walk away and do something else, but not that. And let them understand that saying no and standing up for yourself and what you believe is the highest honor, because you're honoring yourself. When you betray yourself to please others and not disappoint them, that you're not going to take part in whatever it is that's not so good for you or not going to make you feel good, it's the highest form of betrayal. And what we do is we sell ourselves short to buy into belonging in some situation. And the more we do that, the more we degrade ourselves and lose our self-esteem. And self-esteem is the fundamental defining factor for everyone's happiness and success. I'll say that again. Self-esteem is the foundation on which all your happiness and success is built. People with low self-esteem have got a ceiling. They're only going to be as successful as that ceiling of self-esteem, or wealthy, or loved, or happy. It's like a lid that caps your success, your happiness. So they've got to know that in their own lives, the one they've got to love and respect and honor the most is themselves. And if they ever ask this question, will this make me feel better about myself? And intuitively, the answer is no. They've got to have the courage to walk away. And when they walk away, encourage them to tell you about that experience so that you can praise them, pat them on the back and say, well done for taking a stand. For taking a stand in what you believe, because that builds character. And character determines your destiny. Character is the single most important attribute. It's the thing, it's what you are. Character is everything. If you've got poor character, sorry, my friends, your future is not bright. Have good character, and wow, welcome to life. Your future is going to be very bright. Okay. The other thing about children, no matter the age they're at, you'll find that children go through stages and ages where they start saying funny things and they start, expressing different things. And they often talk about their likes and dislikes. But how often are they told, don't say that? No, you can't say that. You can't think that. No, we don't do that. No, you shouldn't feel that way. You should feel this way. Don't feel that way. Don't. What happens the more people, or especially children, hear the word don't? The quicker they're going to land up at a place where they stop talking to you. No one likes to be told don't say this, don't say that, don't feel this, don't feel that. Just listen to them. And if it's something that's really different to who you are and how you grew up and how you were raised or what your beliefs are, you have to have an element of respect no matter the age. Just because they're younger than you doesn't mean we own them. It doesn't mean we can control them, and then we shouldn't try to change them or fix them. We should guide them and lead by example. That's all we can do, is lead by example, because that's the best teacher on earth. Words don't teach, our actions teach. Love them unconditionally and applaud them for their uniqueness. Because the last thing we want is when they stop talking, because they're expressing their differences. Sometimes we go through a stage, maybe it lasts, maybe it doesn't, and we want to be different. That's how we find ourselves. Oh, for goodness sake, if I think of myself, how many funny things I've done in my teens, my 20s, my 30s, my 40s. As we learn about ourselves, we adopt different styles, behaviors, modes, whatever it is, and that's how we navigate and find ourselves. So whilst they're doing that, applaud them for their uniqueness, saying, wow, I've never looked at life that way. That's interesting. And ask deeper questions. What makes you think that that's the best way to deal with that? Or what makes you think that, that's a better way of doing it the way someone else would do it? Maybe I would do it differently. Talk to them, expand their mind, and let them know you respect their opinion and that they can trust you when it comes to talking. So they keep the conversations that are most critical in their lives, most important in their lives, in the home and not out the home. The next thing is lead by example. This has got to be the easiest, hardest statement to ever say to anyone. It's the easiest, hardest thing to do. What do I mean by the easiest, hardest thing to do? It's very easy to say lead by example. We hear it all the time. But to really do it and live it each and every day is a lot more challenging than what we think. So what are we teaching young people? What are we teaching our children by our own example? Do you love yourself? Because if you do or don't love yourself and show that, what are you teaching our children? And how is your self-esteem? If you got low self-esteem, there is no way you can teach your child to have more self-esteem than the example that you are leading with. Do you love your body? Or do you hide it from shame or embarrassment? How do you behave in front of your children? Because if you're embarrassed about your body and you have shame of any kind, you're teaching them something through that. there's something to be shy about. I must be conscious. My mom's self-conscious, my dad's self-conscious. What about me? Where are my flaws? Where should I be self-conscious? It's learned behavior. Loud and proud and confident is learned behavior. When people are confident and they encourage their children to be confident, they generally have more confident children. It's quite obvious. You can see that. So what are we teaching with our own behavior? Do you respect yourself? If you respect yourself, you're teaching your children to respect themselves. If people treat you really badly and you put your foot down and say, I won't tolerate that, and you have self-respect, or you don't make an idiot of yourself, you're showing your children how to do the same. Do you let people treat you badly or use you? If your children watch you being abused, used, humiliated, you're teaching them that it's okay for people to do that. And we don't want that for our children. So the point I'm making here is words don't teach. You can tell someone, don't let people use you. Don't let your friends treat you like that. Why do you let them speak to you so badly? Words don't teach. When you show that you don't let people speak to you that way, you're teaching your children in your actions. You also find that parents who love themselves will find it easier to teach their children how to self-love. So my advice to everyone who's listening here is keep working on yourself and do it openly. Talk about it, that you're learning to love yourself, that you're going through personal growth. It doesn't matter if you're 30, 40, 50, 60, or 80. Talk about the fact that you're still working on yourself no matter the age. Personal growth never ends. And let them know that it's okay to do the same. When you are learning to love yourself and you catch yourself running yourself down or not treating yourself right or not giving yourself, the TLC that you need, openly say it to your family, your children. I should care about myself more, and I'm going to do that tomorrow. I'm going to take care of myself and do whatever it needs. Because through that, you're teaching them that they can do the same. Okay. Give young people something to look forward to. This is really important. They found that very young children, I'm talking about like 4, 5, 6, 7, don't really have the ability to imagine the future as much as adults do. So here we're talking about teenagers. Help them develop this. Give them something to look forward to. Start talking about in the future. So this is a great thing to do with a young person. Doesn't matter if they, as I said, your family or not. They could be a relative or just a friend. Sit down with them and say, how do you see yourself in 3 months from now? Or 1 year from now? And then really stretch their minds and say, how do you see yourself 10 years from now? Take the time with them, make it fun, and let them write that out. Because if they can write out a positive, worthwhile, and aspirational picture of themselves 10 years out, this goes into the subconscious mind. Everything does. And they will start working towards that. Decisions that they make that are not in harmony with this vision that they write down will kind of steer them and guide them. So it's a really worthwhile exercise. The other one is ask them, what kind of friends do you think are most beneficial to you growing up or getting where you want to go in the next 10 years or the next year, whatever they've done on those 3 months, 1 year, and 10 years. They should do all three, to be honest. It's a really good exercise. 3 months, 1 year, 10 years. What kind of friends are most beneficial? This helps them be empowered. They choose with their own words and with their own thoughts. They're choosing the most beneficial friends. If they can do that verbally, it makes it easier for them to actually do it in action in the real world. Also, make them list their goals and describe the goals to you, and then ask them, what steps do you think you need to take to make those dreams come true? What actual little steps? And if they can't come up with an answer, just ask them, what's the one step, just the one step on each of your goals that can take you closer? Just give me the one next step, because that's how it works with life. We don't know the whole stairway. I mean, the things in my own life that I look back, at the time I didn't know how on earth I would get there, but I just took one tiny step. And once you take that step, you've got a bit of a higher view of life. And then you only have to take one more step, and then you've got a higher view and you can see a bit more. And that's how we go. So that's really quite valuable. And then it's a good thing to say, I'm going to do this exercise with you. Lead by example. I cannot say it enough. You know, John Maxwell, in the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, chapter 13 is called Law of the Picture. He's dedicated an entire chapter to leading by example. The law of the picture is people do what people see. That's what the law of the picture is. And this is a leadership book. It's saying that even in corporate leadership, you cannot teach with words. You cannot tell people how to act. You can only teach them how to act through your own actions. So you do it too, and then review it with them. And then this is the most important thing. Talk about it as time goes forward. And if they don't get as far as they wanted to go, don't let them beat themselves up about it. Help your children know life is not always perfect, and it's not meant to be. It's a learning curve. Everything's a learning. So if you didn't get as far as you wanted to, okay, let's revise the goal. Let's rewrite it and let's go again. But we don't give up. You see, there's failure. There's no such thing as failure unless we give up. We just keep going, we revise, we get better, and we keep going. Hi, Blondine, welcome. I see you've joined.
Thank you. I had to postpone joining. Sorry about that.
That's okay. I'm glad you joined. Thank you. Okay, now we come to growing older graciously. This is more for many people my age who are on this webinar. So let's talk about growing older graciously. So the truth is, many of us struggle with this idea of growing old. You know, we have a little bit of a fear when it comes to having saggy skin, having wrinkles, getting gray hair, fat rolls we can't get rid of. Come, let's be honest, guys. There's no doubt that this is every single one of us at some point has this kind of fear. I mean, I did a video the day before yesterday on Facebook Live, and I couldn't see with my glasses, they're trifocals. So as I looked down, I had like this triple chin. And I looked at my own video, I thought, you know what, there's a triple chin. What the hell, what can I do about it? So I let the video go on Facebook. I can't change it. It's what's going on right now. This is where I am. This is where I am. But we do fear it. I mean, I speak for myself. I do too. What we need to know is that it's normal. And it's definitely a natural process of living. Every single thing grows old and decays. A building that's not even living and breathing grows old and decays. Equipment, plants, animals, everything grows old and decays. It's a natural process of living. So we know this intellectually, but why do we struggle so much to accept it physically? The other thing is about our expectation. You know that they found that through research studies, what people saw of old people as they grew up determined how they were going to die. So if they saw a lot of old people always dying from being sick, they kind of had an expectation that they would also die from getting sick. Other people who saw people around them die of old age, they went to sleep one night, they never woke up, but they were healthy. They found that they also grew old healthy. I'm just letting you know this because, you know, there's a book here worth reading, The Biology of Belief. It's on the recommended reading list if you've done the Silver Method training with me. The Biology of Belief says that whatever we believe becomes our reality. If you believe that your condition is genetic and hereditary, you will have it. But it's actually not coded down your genes on a biological level. There's no such thing as hereditary. The reason we do have hereditary things showing up is the belief we hold about it. So people who believe they can cure themselves of cancer do, and the people who believe they can't die. So whatever we believe is what we create. So I'm saying we should expect to age and die healthy. Why not? I mean, my great-grandmother passed on at 100. And she went to sleep one night and never woke up, and her husband did the same. And her son, who was my grandfather, he passed on at 95. He had a little bit of pain in his legs before he passed, but he never took a tablet. He was healthy up until 95, and he passed on in his sleep. So I'm aspiring to that same kind of journey for myself. You can do that too. So whatever you put in your mind and decide, I want to die healthy. Make it your goal. Die healthy. Move on healthy. You don't have to suffer. Why suffer? So the problem with this resistance towards growing old is we actually have a culture of youth worship. Like there's all this marketing and everything on social media and movies and cinema and everything about youth worship. The truth is we're here to experience every part of life, and for a reason. So I want to unmute all your lines, and I'm going to ask you now, why do you think we have to grow old? God or source energy or infinite intelligence, give it any name you like, created us that we grow old and wither. I want to know from you, why do you think that's the case? Let's have an open discussion here.
Are we just doing what people have done before us? We're just, as you said just before, following in everybody else's footsteps.
You mean we think we should grow old, so we do?
Yeah.
It could be. Yes, that's very possible. However, the truth is that there comes a point where we do start to, and I actually don't know why. I did a lot of reading up on this. We regenerate cells and regenerate cells. In other words, every 10 years, your entire skeleton, all the bones are actually completely new every 10 years. And we also make new cells every day. Did you know that in every hour, I think, we have 25 million new cells in our body? But there comes a point, I don't know, at a certain clock switch time in our lives where certain cells stop regenerating and we start to decay. So why that happens and when is still to be determined. They say it's to do with our belief, as you just said. But my question is, we do get older and we do get wrinkly and saggy and lose our youthful looks, lose our eyesight, lose potentially our teeth, lose our hearing maybe, agility, our strength. Why do you think we are created this way? What are we meant to learn from it? This is my question.
Yep.
Go ahead, Denise. And tell us your age.
No.
Okay. Tell us the reason.
There you go. That's another fear of aging. You always want to hide your age, except when you're very, very old, like 99, and you'll say, I'm 99 and a half. Then you're happy to add on the half.
Okay, so tell us why you think what's the reason? What do we have to learn?
What the reason that I think that, well, I call it God. I think we're here for a time. We're in a physical body, but we are spiritual beings, and I think the aim of the game should be to improve ourselves spiritually. And our physical body, I think that's how God wanted. We've got a certain time that we have to prepare ourselves, I think, for when we leave this earth, because that's a life that goes on forever when we're in the grace of God. I call it God.
Okay.
And yes, I feel you'll find a lot of old people that have never been to church in their lives. Suddenly, at a certain age, when they're old or getting older, they suddenly start going to a certain church or wherever, a temple, a parish, because somewhere deep inside, it's a natural thing now. You know your end time is coming, and even though you've neglected it your whole life, you have this need now to want to be more spiritual, because intrinsically you have that feeling that you're going to, leave your physical body and, enter the spiritual realm.
Yeah, that's fantastic. That's very well put, very well said. I think so, 100%. And then when you started off talking, you said it's to improve spiritually.
Yes.
What do you think that means? Subscribe, what does that mean? Improve spiritually. What changes? What part of us changes? What do we change? What viewpoint or perspective or?
I think it's just trying to improve yourself, because the more you get to know yourself, the more you realize how much there is to still improve. So if you've been very impatient your whole life, you can start trying to learn to be patient. Or, maybe you've been a stingy person, try now to your best to become more generous. That sort of thing. It's spiritually to learn as much as you can, and to try to connect with God, or whatever you want to call it, higher power. That's the thing, is to aim for that.
Yeah. I think, does anyone else want to share before I give my comments here? Come on, there's got to be more viewpoints than just Denise. Let's go. Come on, guys. Speed test. Speak up. There's no time like the present. Shout out and interrupt each other. Don't wait. Talk. Yeah, go, Lynn.
Well, I'm going to agree with Denise. I think we have this understanding before we come down that this is, we need to learn something, so we think we can learn that from our, the people that we will, maybe our parents, that we, that will be our parents when we get down. So there's this whole structure up there of what we are going to learn. We come down, we have time to do that, and then we go back, reassess, and then we'll come back down and do something different, depending on whether, we might have, I don't know whether we might have to come down and do the whole thing again, I'm not sure, but yeah, I certainly believe what Denise is saying.
Okay, thank you. Who else? Come on, any opinions, okay? There's no right or wrong here. This is just your thoughts on it. Why do you think we need to grow old, lose our youthful looks, our vitality, potentially some of our health, our agility? No, don't look as gorgeous anymore. I mean, let's be honest, old wrinkly people don't look as gorgeous as young, vibrant 30-year-olds. Come on. Why?
Okay, well, Janine, I'm going to say it as it is for me.
Okay.
I believe in God and Jesus Christ specifically, so I am a believer in that sense. And growing old is part of our sinful nature. The way we have lived, drink, party, that all those things have an effect on how we grow old. When your spirit gets born again, you, how can I put this? You become a truly new person. So the body is still going to have the effect, the flesh is still going to have an effect, or is the consequences of the sinful nature and the growing old, and that is going to wither. It is meant to be like that. The spirit never dies. So, a lot of people unfortunately do not take care of their spirit, concentrate more on the physical, on the flesh. And sometimes when, for some people it's sometimes too late. Other people, I think if you grow old and rediscover discover your spiritual journey, you can be very grateful for that. And I think that is a lot of grace. There's a lot of people that just never discover that. And and die without having that experience they should have had. But yeah, we are very spiritual beings. The flesh is part of the sinful nature, which is meant to grow old and wither and die. But the spirit is what's never grow old. That gets renewed. And the funny thing is, people that are very very connected to their spirit, actually doesn't look physically very old. They look very youthful most of the time. There's a difference between them in any case, you know. That is just my thoughts on that.
Thank you, Rihanna. Thanks for sharing that. Anyone else? Come on, guys, shoot. No thoughts? Any thoughts?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, sorry, Janine. I was just going to say it's a different mindset. What your mindset at the age of 40 is very different to 20. So while you're busy being the busy bee 20-year-old, you're not going to be thinking what it's like to live life with a 40-year-old body or a 50-year-old body. So therefore you get the best of both worlds. You get to be young and fabulous, and then you get to grow old and still be fabulous. It's just how you look at things.
Yeah.
But you don't get distracted with, you know, looking like a 20-year-old when you're fabulous and 40 or 50. And people look at you different. People communicate with you different.
Okay, let me just ask you, roll forward and go to 80. Tell me about that.
Oh, well, if I look at it from my shoes, as in my point of view, I would say that I could still probably walk into a room and be life of the room. But that's because of my mindset, not because of my physical appearance. And I think the focus of sexuality or sex with other people, the focus would shift from that to different things.
Yeah.
That's great. Thanks for bringing the different angle in the conversation, Renata. I like what you've shared.
Oh.
You just need to look at Louise Hay. I mean, she just sparkled right until, you know, the day she left the planet. She was so beautiful.
Yes.
At 90.
Yes, 92.
Who's that?
Thank you. Good example. Anyone else want to share? Okay, gone. 5. All right, we're going to move on. So thank you guys for sharing. Let me see what else is here. So did you know that this thing about aging, because Lynn was saying, you know, we believe we're going to get old, so we do, is very, very true. They found that there's a certain set point, an aging set point. It's like a clock. And it's regulated by the most important factor, the single important factor. Guess what it is?
Your
it's our
mind.
attitude or our belief about growing old. Whatever belief we have about growing old determines when that clock of aging kicks in. So they found this through research. They asked people, when do you believe is middle age? And they had all kinds of answers. Some people said middle age was 35. Yeah. Some people said middle age was 55. Others said it was 40 or 50. Some said it was 60. And whatever they said, they found when that person hit that age, it triggered biological changes in their bodies that started to accelerate the aging process. So yes, it is a lot about attitude, and that's very, very fascinating. There are some people who have lived very, very long, and they look fantastic, and they don't have a grey hair. So the image that I have in my mind is that I'm going to be well and healthy and vibrant, full of vitality at 98. That's me.
I'll be coming to review at 98.
Yeah, we're going to skateboard down the road, me and you.
And that's why I sing Baba Black Sheep every morning.
Very good, very good.
Oh dear.
Okay, so let's talk about middle age. I just put a lot of writing here, but just bear with me. It's quite interesting. It says, middle age is all about to seek to cultivate honesty. Let's be honest with ourselves. We are now at an age where we're probably not going to get better and younger looking with less wrinkles and less sagging skin and less fat rolls. It's not going to go that way anymore. So that's being honest and accepting it. The next thing is humility. Humility is the right word, because when we have a humble spirit, we have a spirit of learning, because arrogant people can't learn. The opposite of humility is arrogance. So if you're arrogant, you can't learn. But if you're humble, it means that you're open to learning from this experience of going into middle age. I'm just going to go back to I made notes when you guys were talking. When Denise said to improve spiritually, connect with God, getting that connection. Rihanna spoke about the spirit never dies, focusing on the spirit. And Renata spoke about mindset. You know, your mindset shifts. It might have been all about sex when we were young, and then it becomes a different thing when you're 80. It's about love, deep relationships that are meaningful, about the role maybe you've played in life and how you've had a meaningful and fulfilling life and improved things for others. So when we're open to learn, we are humble. And the other thing is have courage. Got to have courage to navigate the later years, because these years are going to be difficult. Let's be honest. So let's look at middle age now. Middle age invites us to summon up the courage to stop clinging to who we were. I love this. And to open up to who we are. To open up to who we are. We're becoming a new phase. It's another cycle of life. It's another season. How beautiful is autumn? I've just come back from Berry, Kangaroo Valley, Coolangatta, that area there. And the colors of the autumn trees is so beautiful. Autumn is beautiful. But let's be honest, so is spring. Spring is beautiful. Now, they're just different seasons. And if anyone's seen winter, it can also be beautiful. And some places it's spectacular when it's full of snow. So it needs for us to open up to who we are at this age and to stop clinging on what we cannot change. So old age is actually a wonderful feature because it forces that leaf to fall off the tree. You don't see leaves in autumn clinging to the branch and saying, I'm not letting go, I'm going to cling onto this branch forever. They go graciously. They fall with the slightest breeze. We need to learn to let go too, and let go of things we cannot change to embrace something new. So I think growing old is to keep asking the question, what am I here to learn? And let's go back to what Denise and Renata and Rihanna said. There's got to be something that we're meant to learn, and it's about our spiritual connection, because let me just say what's spiritual. The word spiritual, another way to phrase it is non-physical. You have a physical being, a physical body, so you have a physical part and you have a non-physical part, and that's your spiritual being. It's to focus on our non-physical being, our soul, our essence, the eternal part of us that goes on. It comes here for a short part in human form, and we get out of the human form again and carry on. So if we can develop a better identity with our spiritual side, and the spiritual side, its connection to our source, that is where fulfillment comes. And when you have that fulfillment, you also have such a deep love, or this feeling of being whole and complete, that money, material things, and physical things don't mean much anymore, because spiritually full is totally whole. Also, healthy aging during the middle years usually involves getting honest with the losses we are experiencing and allowing ourselves to humbly grieve those changes. And, they say people who grieve well heal well. So, yes, if you need to go through a period of grieving that you don't look the way you did, or you've given up some part of your physical vitality, grieve. So that we can open up to who we're becoming, rather than this painful resistance of trying to cling on to who we used to be. So that's middle age. Now let's talk about old age. Nancy, there's your granny. Not your real granny, the granny that you like. saw a post on Instagram, this like, beautiful. Look at this woman's face. Let's be honest. If you just looked at her face, don't you see a beautiful woman?
Yeah.
I mean, really, she's a beautiful woman. And this, if you look at it, I don't know where it's in her eyes or in the wrinkles of her face, I don't know. But there's something really beautiful about that face, and that face is not young. So
You know what it is? That the beauty is. It's full of joy, that face. There's joy and love in that face.
yes. So there we go. Those are non-physical attributes, joy and love. That's why joy and love, relationships are the most valuable thing. Friendships, relationships, what we can add value to others. That's the most important thing. That's what gives our life meaning. And this woman just looks beautiful. So when it comes to old age, the thing is that our body tells us where we're going. Whether we like it or not, our body's going to say, you're heading towards the end now. Because it says here, bodily reminders start creeping in to remind us of our destiny. Ultimately, integrity means getting honest about the reality of approaching death. And as Denise was saying, when we have this reality that we're coming close to that door, our priorities change. Our priorities change. How many people do you know who said, I nearly died, I thought I was going to die, or they almost died. They had a terrible something happen to them, but they lived. But under everyone's expectations, they should have not made it. They come out of it and they say, I've changed and I value different things. What do you value? Well, I don't value work anymore. I value my children, or I value my family, or whatever. They've got different values. So priorities change. And if we don't change them by being young and partying and always good looking, then maybe old age is going to get us to force us to change our priorities, because the most important things are not this. Really, it's not going to fulfill you. So one thing about getting old is many people can suffer from despair. So despair in getting old is very sad, but it comes from these two things. From a narrowly focused viewpoint around fear of the past. Was the trip here on earth worth it? Or I wish I had done this thing I didn't do, having regret. That's fear about the past, what we didn't do. Or fear of the future. What's going to happen to my loved ones when I go? I don't want to let go of what I know and go into the uncertainty of this, whatever, the great beyond. So running or hiding from our fear of death can lead us to despair, and we don't want that. We want to embrace the entire journey. So here are a couple of questions that are good for us. There's questions from the ego and there's questions from the soul. Questions from the ego when it comes to growing old are things like this. Sorry, this might be funny for some. Which facelift surgeon should I use? That's the question that the person asks. If they're coming from the ego, which is the best surgeon to get this work done, you know? This. How many pounds can I bench press? How can I maintain power and authority? What love object do I need to find? How can I hold on to what I used to be? That's the most important question that goes round and round. How can I hold on to what I used to be? I used to be skinny and I used to be young and I used to be gorgeous or whatever. The soul questions are very different. The soul questions are, what honestly empowers me? Is it my job that empowers me, or my status? Or is it my muscles or my boobs or my trophies or my wife? What is it? Or my trophy wife, sorry. What happens when erotic success or social status no longer count? That's what Renata was saying about sex is not the thing when you're 80. So what is important then? What does count when it's not about getting the girlfriend anymore or whatever it is? Or this is a good question. Why am I ashamed of the age I am? That's a very good question. Why am I ashamed of the age I am? Why don't I want to tell people my age?
That's true. I think I must tell everybody now.
Okay, tell them, please, go ahead.
I'm 71.
Okay, excellent, thank you.
I'm glad I got that off my chest.
Yeah, I'm 48,
Don't
guys. I
need
got that
to
off my chest too. Now I've got nothing on my chest. I'm flat-chested now. Why have I let my commercials brainwash and control how I feel about myself? Because that's what it is. Marketing and brainwashing has made us have this youth worship. Am I willing to regain my now life? So my now life means I embrace the age that I am now. So those are some soul questions. I really like that. I got that from some website. I thought it was brilliant. So this is quite good. In our Western culture, the premise that materialism, and let me go through these slowly with you. Loving material things, let's be honest, we think it's going to make us happy. Or narcissism, that's like the excessive interest in or admiration of oneself, or interest in one's physical appearance. Or hedonism, it's a school of thought that argues that pleasure and happiness are the primary and most important intrinsic goods and the aim of life. If we think that the primary aim of life is just to make ourselves happy and indulge ourselves, we're never going to really be very happy, because actually true happiness comes from adding value to others. True happiness never comes from, I'm going to have pleasure every day. Like you want to live on a permanent holiday, because, you know, holidays are about, I'm going to have as much fun as possible for this week or this month or whatever the holiday is. If you think of living a permanent holiday, I've got to have pleasure all the time, then it's going to be some, as it says, the emotional bankruptcy, some spiritual bankruptcy. So we need to think about the things that are going to make us fulfilled and give our life purpose. And fulfillment and life purpose always, always, always involve adding value to others. How do we make life better for others? It's getting the focus off ourselves and onto others. And when we start focusing on that, or our soul and connection and connections, that's when we start to feel more whole and complete. So just a few things. Growing up graciously, as a sum up, learn to love yourself. That's the number one. Lead by example when you love yourself, because you're teaching your kids or young people or anyone around you how to do the same. Keep growing. Grow personally, grow spiritually. Keep up your personal development, because you're teaching others as you're growing. You're becoming a better person, and you're teaching people that this game never stops of improving yourself. Forgive yourself. Forgive your parents. Build those bridges. Repair those relationships. In your life journey, don't try to fix anybody. Just try to fix yourself. Love yourself. Focus on yourself. Teenagers, we've got to remember, need self-esteem. There's enough problems with teenagers and suicide and whatever. We don't need any more of that. So help them embrace their uniqueness. Listen to them, understand them, ask them questions, engage in deep conversations with them. Sit down with them if you get the chance and talk about goal setting. Let them write those things out and review it with them, and help them create a vision of their future and live towards that. Teach them. Before you act, ask yourself, will this make me feel better about myself? And let them trust the intuition and have the courage to go with it. When it's no, walk away. Now, how to get old graciously. We've got to accept it's part of a natural process of living. Acceptance. Acceptance is a big word. Big word. Get over youth worship and embrace the you that you become as we let go of our youth. We're becoming something more beautiful, more mature. More interesting. I just want to make a reference to Diane Keaton. Sorry, I have to. I love Diane Keaton. I just love Diane Keaton. If you didn't get me, I'll say it again. I love Diane Keaton. And I'll tell you something. She looks better today than she did when she was 20. Why?
She does.
She does, because she's got a beauty inside that just radiates. And this is what we need to embrace as we grow older. Embrace this maturity. You've got something rich about you. Love yourself as you are and let yourself shine. Consider your attitude to growing old. And if necessary, you've got to change your paradigm. If you've got to visualize or program, do it. But see yourself happy, older, happy, loving yourself, having confidence, strutting your stuff at 85. Lynn's laughing. Yes, Lynn, scratch your stuff at 85. You know, like, it doesn't have to change.
No.
Middle age, cultivate honesty, humility, and courage. Open up to who you're becoming. Don't cling to what you were. You're never going to get it back. Accept it. And when it comes to old age, it's all about integrity, getting honest with ourselves. We are walking towards the Delta doorway. So let's talk about it. You know, I read this article. I don't know if this is true in Australia or any other country or anywhere, but this article was talking about the generalizing old age homes where they hear old people talking about someone who died or that they're feeling sick and they think they're getting something that's going to make them die soon. The staff say, don't talk like that. You're going to live another 10 years. I don't know if that's true or not. I'm just generalizing. But they said that's the wrong thing. These people need to talk about it. You know, I just want to ask anyone who's on this webinar, have you been around where someone else has passed on? And the conversations, like especially a family member, doesn't matter if it's a granny or auntie or whoever, even if it's a young person, when they've passed on and family talks about this death, how much we all grow and learn. Is that not true? We all learn something valuable through someone's passing. Why wouldn't we do that about our own? For goodness sake. If old people want to talk about their passing, talk about it. People are so afraid to talk about it. It's almost become taboo. So the person themselves who are dying feels uncomfortable talking about their own death that's for them real and imminent, in the fear that they're going to offend other people, because it's this culture thing. I'm saying here, let's be open and talk about it. People should talk about it. And, you know, I'll just share this quick story. I lost my younger cousin who passed on at 26. She got cancer at 21. And she suffered for 5 years with cancer and she died at 26. And I was on the phone with her about 3 days or 4 days before she passed. And she knew she was going to pass and I knew she was going to pass. Everybody knew she was right at the very end. And you know what a relief it was and a blessing for me to talk to her and say to her, how do you really feel, Simon? And she said, Tina, I know, they call me Tina in the family. Tina, I know I'm going to die. And I'm going to die really soon, probably in the next couple of days. And we had a conversation about that. How do you feel? And she shared the things she was scared about that she's not scared about anymore. And she shared that the suffering that she's gone through is enough. And she's looking forward to going. And even if she could take an instant pulse, she said, and be 100% well overnight, she said, you know what? I actually don't want to. I'm tired. I'm ready. It's taken me a long time, but this, and to have that conversation, what a healing, what a washing off her, a burden, and off me, having that conversation with her. So I'm just saying, don't shy away from talking about death with people who have lost people, who are losing people, or people themselves who are passing on, or ourselves if we get to that age too. Remember the ego and soul questions. How to stay young is the ego questions, and why am I afraid is the soul questions. Why am I afraid? Let me look at myself honestly. And lastly, be true to yourself. This is where we're going. Let's be true to ourselves and love ourselves. So my friends, create a life that feels good on the inside and not just looks good on the outside. That's it. Did you enjoy that for tonight? A bit different, I think, but a good lesson anyway.
It was lovely.
Thank you, coming from the 71-year-old.
Now, you know what? Just because I've shared that with you, you don't have to go and broadcast it all over the countryside.
You're going to be on YouTube, 71-year-old YouTube.
Oh, my goodness. I forgot about the YouTube.
It's okay.
Oh, my word.
Let me just share with you why I'm picking on this person. This is my mother. For those of you who don't know, that's Denise. She's my mom. So, Ma, don't worry. You like me. We like to show off. I'm 71. I'm 71.
No. I've never been like that, but now, yeah, yes. Actually, I have to be very proud. Actually, you know what? I'm just being silly when I say that, you know, what I've said in previously. However, I feel very blessed that I've reached this age, having seen, you know, as you mentioned before, Simon, for example, dying at 26, you know, et cetera, and other people.
Yeah.
So, yes, very grateful that I've come this far. And I look forward to now, at my age now, going into a totally new adventure.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Yep.
Good. That's good. All right. I'm just conscious of time. And I want to let you people go by no later than past. So let's do this quick meditation. And so what we're going to do now, for those of you who are new, just find yourself a comfortable position, grab a pen and paper, and sit with a pen and paper in your lap in a meditation position. And you're going to close your eyes and go into meditation. At the end, I'm going to ask you 2 or 3 questions, and you'll open your eyes, write your answers down, and close them again and go back into meditation. And meditation's got one purpose in the beginning, that's to set the intention for the month ahead, the month of June. And then we're going to ask these questions so you can tune into your higher self to get answers, inspiration, guidance. Because I want you to learn that you can get these answers anytime, anywhere yourself. If you want to put your cameras off, you can. I'm going to put my video off at the moment. And you can just relax, and I'm going to play some music, and I'll give you this guided meditation. It takes about 15 minutes.
Janine, I have to love and leave you, ladies, so I'll catch you soon, okay?
Thank you, Lynn. Have a wonderful evening.
Yes.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye,
Lynn.
Lynn.
Bye.
Ciao.
So just make yourself comfortable at this point. Close your eyes. Now take a deep breath, and as you exhale, just allow all the tensions in your body to release and float away. Take another deep breath, and as you exhale, feel your body relaxing. Feel the tensions leaving your scalp, leaving your forehead, leaving your eyes. Relax your cheeks. Relax your whole face. Relax your tongue and jaw. Relax your neck. Take another deep breath, and while exhaling, relax your shoulders, arms, and hands. Take another deep belly breath, and as you exhale, feel the tension leaving your back. As you inhale and exhale slowly and rhythmically, relax your chest. Relax your abdominal area. Relax your pelvic area. Take another deep breath and allow the tension to leave your hips and thighs. Relax your thighs. Relax your knees. Relax your calves. Relax your feet all the way down to your toes. You are now experiencing a deep state of relaxation. Now you're going to create in your mind an ideal place of relaxation. It can be real or imagined, somewhere you've been or maybe somewhere that you'd like to go, but allow it to be a place that you imagine where you are totally relaxed, feel peaceful and calm. Begin to experience this place right now. Now that you've created your ideal place of relaxation, you're going to add a waterfall of white light into the scene. Place this waterfall of white light wherever you choose. The waterfall is gentle, allowing you to stand under the cascading white light. The light is healing energy, a clearing energy. Your waterfall of light is now created. Walk over to the waterfall and stand under this white healing light. Allow the white light to swirl around you and encompass you within its glow. Feel it clearing the stress, the tension, and the clutter of the day, the week, the month, the whole year. Feel it clearing the stress, tension, and clutter of your lifetime. Feel it clearing your entire energy field, clearing your atmosphere or your aura. As this beautiful white light clears your energy field, just notice how much happier you look. How much younger you look. Notice the smile on your face. See how the weights that you've been carrying are no longer a burden. Notice how your energy field is expanding out as you are radiating love. This waterfall of light is always available to you whenever you need it. All you need to do is to close your eyes and imagine your ideal place of relaxation and immerse yourself in this healing white light. Now take a deep breath, relax deeper, and repeat these beneficial statements to yourself mentally after me. Every day, in every way, I am getting better, better, and better. Positive thoughts, suggestions, and images bring me benefits and advantages I desire. I will always maintain a perfectly healthy body, mind, and immune system. The following statements are for your better health. Keep in mind that from now on, I will occasionally be speaking in your place. Every second, every minute, every hour, every day, every cell, tissue, organ, and system of my body is revitalized, restored, and renewed, resulting in a perfectly healthy body, mind, and immune system. I'm able to function in harmony physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually to promote maximum benefits. My awareness in using my mind allows me to do activities that promote increased health physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Now imagine the white light turns to green. You are now immersed in a glowing green light. This green light is unconditional love. It surrounds you. It encompasses you. It flows through your entire being. It fills you with love. All those hurts you felt, all those pains you felt, those angry moments, just allow this green light, this wonderful unconditional love to heal all those spaces now. You are an amazing human being. You deserve love. You deserve joy. You deserve abundance. And you deserve peace. It is now time to step out of the waterfall. Step out of this waterfall of light. Your energy field is now clean and clear. You feel centered and energized. You are able to think more clearly, focus more easily. You are in the flow of universal love and energy. Take a moment now to bask in this feeling of connectedness. You have now reset your body and mind for the month of June. It is now time to set your intention for the month of June. Tune into your inner wisdom, your higher self, your intuition. That part of you that, when you tuned in, guides you and intuitively knows what is best for you. I'm going to count backwards from 10 to 1. When I reach the count of 1, you will have tuned in to your higher self, your inner wisdom. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You are now tuned in to your inner wisdom, your intuition, the part of you that intuitively knows what is best for you. Feel the alignment with your higher self. Feel the connection. And now, in your very relaxed state, ask yourself the following question, and whatever comes to mind, write it down. Don't overthink it, don't judge it. Just write down your first impressions and then take a deep breath, close your eyes, and re-enter your calm state. The first question is, what do I need to focus on for the month of June? What do I need to focus on for the month of June? The second question to ask yourself is, what steps do I need to take me closer to what I want to be, do, or have? What steps do I need to take me closer to what I want to be, do, or have? Whatever comes to mind, just write it down. Take a deep breath. Keep your eyes closed when you finish writing and re-enter your calm state. The next question to ask is, what do I need to let go of or release? What do I need to let go of or release? The last question we're going to ask is, what else do I need to know, or is there anything else? Is there anything else? Or what else do I need to know? Whatever comes to mind, write it down, and then take a deep breath and relax. Slowly bring your attention back to your body. Gently wiggle your fingers and toes. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes and have a big stretch. Blessings to all of you. Okay, welcome back. How was that?
Very nice.
Oops, sorry.
Thank you.
Anybody want to share anything that came up for them that they were surprised or happy about or unaware until now? No? Yes? Okay. We'll move on. So thank you very much for joining me tonight. Just a quick things that are coming up next. The next Meaningful Monday is on the 2nd of July. It's always the first Monday of the month at 8 p.m. And the next one is about infinite possibilities. What we can really create and what's possible for us. And then also the next Silver Method training. There's no Silver Method training in winter. So the next training is in September. It's over 2 weekends with a gap in between. So Life Systems is on the 8th and the 9th, and Intuition is on the 22nd and 23rd, the 4-day program. And then in November, it's the 4-day immersion, all in one go. Silver Method Kids program is in October, over a weekend. It's the 26th, the 28th of October. And that's for children specifically between 8 and 12-year-olds. For anyone who's considering sending their child, the prerequisite is at least one parent needs to be a Silver graduate. It's just to help support and encourage them to practice their techniques when they've left. And if anyone is not sure what the Silver Method is, it's a 4-day program of dynamic meditation where we really use the mind to create whatever it is that we want. And you can visit the website there below, silvermethodaustralia.com.au, if you want more info there. Otherwise, the 4 key skills to take charge of your life is a webinar that kind of skims off the top of what the Silver Method is, and it's packed with some tips and techniques to help you in any area of your life. And you can watch that at any stage on YouTube. There's more than one recording of it. Some are live in a seminar room and some are webinars, but there are more than one on my YouTube channel, which you can watch at any time. So other than that, folks, I want to say thank you very much for joining tonight. I'll switch off the recording.